I'm actually honored and
Can.
humbled, humbled to be in your presence and being able to have a conversation with you. I think everybody has spoken about the issues that have been raised and that need to be raised, but I want to only concentrate on two things. And unfortunately, both have legal content, so I beg your forgiveness for that. But what people are talking about, the idea of India that we started with, and we want to reclaim, I want to crystallize it. And as lawyers, we always do it in the form of what is our constitutional ethos. And that is contained in the preamble. And I want to read that out for you so we know what we are aiming for. And as lawyers, some of us have been actually reading it out in court in the face of the onslaught on our values. So these are the most important values ingrained in the Constitution, and the preamble contains a summary of that. And I want to read it out. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and these are important, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political. Are we getting that? Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Today we are being prosecuted if you actually say that I want oxygen cylinders. Equality of status and opportunity. People have spoken about the inequality between castes and even economic differences. And to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. Are we actually assuring dignity to persons who are struck with COVID, who have been asking for oxygen? No. So I think when we are talking about reclaiming our values, it is important to understand that we have to reclaim the values ingrained in the Constitution. The second point I want to make, time being limited, is that, and Dr. Kazi spoke about it a bit earlier, but I want to tell you that even in the right to health, which is also part of the Constitution, in the COVID area and the COVID wave that has come, we have not only failed to see what was coming and actually allowed people to die when all those deaths were preventable, but we are allowing the government right now to make sure that vaccines are not reaching all of them. I want to make this issue an issue which we should fight for, because we don't want to be in the negative frame of mind about our brothers, sisters, and transgender people losing their lives, but we have to move forward and fight the system which is actually taking away our rights. And I want to highlight one issue which I think, Deviji, we should as a group make a point as an agenda to take up and make sure that we succeed on that, and we can. And I want to point that out. What is the vaccine policy of the government? For 70 years, we have had the National Immunization Program, which works on procurement by the central government from manufacturers of vaccine, government or private, and distributing them to all the states free of charge. And that goes to everybody free. Nobody is left out. And that is evident from the success of the national immunization program in smallpox, polio, and even in other infectious diseases like HIV. But now the government has announced a policy, as you know, where the central government is not going to procure. Central government will have 50% of all the production, for whom it's not clear, but the rest of the 50% is going to be divided by state governments and private actors. And those private actors are competing with each other to get them. And the failure of the policy is evident from a statement by the finance minister of Kerala, Mr. Isaacs, who said that he cannot get in touch with Serum Institute of India to procure vaccines. Now, Kerala is a rich state, but imagine Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, which are not rich states. Will they be able to procure vaccines for their people? No. this policy and decision which the government of India has taken is actually damaging and infringing the right of health and equity which is required. Thirdly, and I'll stop with that point, they have allowed the private actors, vaccine manufacturers, to determine the price. And I want to explain this so that we can take this forward. When you are a central government, you are the only buyer in India, you have the negotiating power to dictate the price. But when you give up that negotiating power, you actually give the power to the sellers, the vaccine manufacturers, to dictate the price. And that's what's happened. So state governments have to pay 300 or 400 rupees, whereas central government procures at 150 rupees. Has the state government got money for that? No. They have to actually now get money from other social welfare programs, and those people, for example, TB, they would lose out. Is this the way to go? And this is because the central government is interested in privatization of everything. That is not good for health. So if we want to invest in health, as Kanhaiya Kumar mentioned earlier, we have to force the government to go back to the policy or the program that was there earlier. So I want to stop here because my 3 minutes are over. But I think, Deviji, it is important as a group not only to talk about sadness, but come with an action program, and we can win this. In fact, the Jan Swastha Abhiyan has filed 2 applications in the Supreme Court, which is coming up on Monday. And I want us to collect signatures on this thing and to make it clear to the government that will not tolerate the rolling back of the immunization programs. Thank you very much.
We